Welcome you guys here, and you're probably wondering why you're here, but I'm Rob Keller, the Public Affairs Director for Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, which is a North Dakota entity that works with our Guard and Reserve families and soldiers. And ESGR is 50 years old this year. We've been around since the 1972 when the draft went away. And one of the things that we value, just by the nature of employers who are the Guard and Reserve, you, Tyler, as the employer representing the entire state, have something like this in uniform that apparently has to leave every once in a while for weekend trainings, for 2-week annual training. Some are deployed. We have some of the folks that work gone into a 50-year-long deployment. We know that in the city of Bismarck, there's others as well, other departments that have service members that are deployed, and a lot of them are in the COVID, although that's winding down as well too. What it means is that we then are able to help you, your agency and your department, to help with any questions you have on reemployment and all that too. Now, I know that Tyler has left here, and when he submitted this award back in September, it went up to the National Guard Bureau, Employer Support Guard Reserve. It was approved just last couple of weeks or so. So that's why we're a little late with this as well too. And you moved on to that position as well too. But during his time here, I'm going to read a statement that he put the award in, the narrative that put in there. Okay. And so we have some folks that are watching as well too. And it's just one of the things that we do to bring awareness to employer support and guard reserve to companies like this, the state and the county, that too. So, the award is called the Patriot Award, and the Patriot Award is given to a supervisor. It's not really given to the Forestry Department. There's other awards for that. It's given to you because you represent things that Tyler saw, that Doug, that Tyler saw, that he was able to put in this award and the accommodations and how he took care of them when he was going to. So I'm going to read what he said here. This is what's going to be on forms. This is the actual award to get that to you in a bit. So this is, they said, Doug has been very supportive of my military career ever since I started working for the Bismarck early Public Works Forestry Department. He was accommodating to my weekend drills and annual trainings. He would allow me to make up time to grant me leave whenever I needed to leave for more than just a weekend drill. Most recently, I was put on FEMA orders through the state of North Dakota for COVID-19. How long were you on?
Just shy of a year.
Just shy of a year. Okay, that's a long time. So I was on those orders for, as mentioned, full year. He said that you called monthly, asked me how he was doing, and if he needed anything. He always reassured him that I was more than welcome to come back at any time, and then my job was waiting for me whenever I did return. But in this case here, he's left and moved on to other positions well too. But he reassured me that he wanted to stay, that your job would be there, his job would be there. As I mentioned earlier, Doug has been very supportive of my military career and has made being a citizen soldier very easy for me. He's very supportive of the military troops and would be a great recipient of this award. And I did go around and look and see. I always like to do a little research on the Forestry Department, what you do, and all the things. I didn't realize such a small department for such a large city. I was looking at this because I didn't know how many. I wanted to know how many trees there were in Bismarck. Okay, and how many you guys know? Okay, roughly 22,000 street trees. These are on the street on the boulevard. Street trees lining approximately 350 miles of public streets.
It's actually 24,000.
20. Okay. Maybe that makes. So, but I mean, when you think about that, and the small cadre of people you have here to monitor those trees and come out to service to homeowners like myself to find out why my top of my tree is dying, and that's important. We don't realize your staff, your employees work hard at that. But when one of those leaves, there's a void there. And so in this case, it was one, and you may have backfilled them already as far as the other position. So that's happening all over the country, and especially with COVID-19 and what we're doing. A lot of we're calling upon the guards to come out and work with the counties, city, states on COVID, and we're totally winding that down as well too. But I just want to read something I found out. It's a pretty good quote. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but somebody's sitting in the shade of a tree today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Never thought of that. I mean, we have houses we've lived in, we've planted a tree, and 25 years later, come back and the tree is gone. Still there. Homeowners have probably moved quickly gone. But when we invest in something, we invest in it at the roots of the ground, or so to speak. And I don't know how long we were here, but the time we spent here, you invested in as well you do with all the other staff here. And we just want to thank you for that. In this case, an individual award, the Patriot award, just say thank you for what you have done. So that this is it's called the Office of the Secretary of Defense, Employer Support of the Guard Reserve, recognizes Doug Wiles, Bismarck Public Works Forestry Department as a patriotic employer for contributing to national security and protecting liberty and freedom by supporting employee participation in America's National Guard and Reserve Forces. And so, Doug, I want to present this to you on behalf of the North Dakota Employer Support Guard Reserve, place it in the place you want. And so I'm going to have you guys just come on in here and just hold that up here for me. And so we got some folks who want to get some pictures. So, and can I get okay? Okay. Anyway, appreciate Doug and Tyler for that as well. Now I'd like to have some comments from you. Sure. As to a little bit about the situation.
Yeah, you know, when we hired Tyler, we knew what his requirements were to work here with us. City of Bismarck, out front, it's in our policies how much we are to support our troops and the National Guard. So it really wasn't a question as to whether or not Tyler was going to have a job, or because we're going to support it no matter what. North Dakota is very patriotic. The City of Bismarck is patriotic. We value that. We see the value in the training that employees like Tyler have already received from the military. So it was a benefit to us having him here. And any way we could support him, we were happy to do so.
I don't know. I think like Doug said earlier, didn't necessarily break the rules for me. He just bent them a little to help me out a little bit more than he could, which really helped me out too. So.
And you're now on ADOS, right? You're in ADOS, okay? And you've been there for just over a year?
I started.
Okay, where do you, what type of work were you doing on your ADOS?
That's different.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. And you're on orders for now for where?
Well, still ADOS.
Okay.
Military.
Oh, okay, military. Jeanette Betcher is right there, right with her. She was the coordinator for the military funeral stuff for the state as well too. That's another thing we do. Anyone, a veteran who passes away, we give them the final rites and the flag and all the ceremony that goes with that as well too. Hold the place here. I'm going to get another thing I'm going to read here. And we're going to have you sign the statement of support, because you mentioned that the forestry and the city is very patriotic. We've had other paper awards we give to other employers within the city of Bismarck. But the statement of support is for those 7 seals that we showed you on the Navy, Air Force, Marines, Guard, Reserve, Coast Guard. And it says, Bismarck Forestry Department, we recognize the Guard and Reserve are essential to the strength of our nation and the well-being of our communities. In the highest American tradition, patriotic men and women of the Guard and Reserve serve voluntarily in honorable and vital profession. They train to respond to their community and their country in time of need. They deserve the support of every segment of our society. If these forces are to continue to serve our nation, increased public understanding is required of the essential role of the Guard and Reserve in preserving our national security. And so therefore, by signing this, it says that we fully recognize and comply with the Uniformed Services Employment Re-Employment Rights Act. That's USERRA. That's the Department of Labor Law that gives the guidance on bringing the person back to work after being employed. We will provide our managers and supervisors with the tools they need to effectively manage those employees who serve the Guard and Reserve, and we appreciate the values, leadership, and unique skills service members bring to the workforce, and we encourage opportunities to employ Guardsmen, reservists, transitioning service members, and veterans. We will continue to recognize and support our country's service members and their families in peace and crisis of war. We currently have members of the Guard on the southwest border, the capital region, and the 191st Military Police just got a standby for orders for the Middle East as well too. too. So we're continuing on with the global war terror and to make it safer for our citizens back here in the U.S. And so anyway, guys, I want to appreciate you and thank you for what you're doing. And Tyler, and I know we want to get the picture, but I'm going to turn it over to the guy that's on the screen here, the little black box right there. That is Delton Steele. Delton is our state chairman for the Employer Support Guard Reserve. He's in Minnesota, and with this virtual hybrid of being in person and virtual, it's opened up a lot of doors for us. So Delton, I think we can hear you.
Radio check here, Rob. Am I coming in okay? All
Yeah.
right. Good. Well, hey, thanks, Rob. And it's exciting to be here as always to recognize a patriotic employer and also recognize the service member who took the time to write up that nomination for his employer. But before I get into my formal remarks, I have one comment. You know, I live down here in Otter Tail County. I have about 35 oak trees in my yard. And I'm just wondering, in the fall of the year, do you guys hire out to come and rake up the acorns or anything like that? It's like walking on marbles down here sometimes. And but hey, they're beautiful trees, and but they are messy, but we love them, and we certainly don't want to lose any of them. But anyway, I just had to throw that out there since we're dealing with guys that are experts in the forestry business. So anyway, hey, on behalf of the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, and we are a program, as Rob said, of the Department of Defense. We're all very proud to wear this emblem. And we are volunteers, 40 volunteers in North Dakota. We have over 3,000 nationwide. And, you know, all we really try to do at the end of the day is to create a culture where all American employers support and value the military service of their National Guard and Reserve employees. And what a fine example today, as I was listening to Rob read what Tyler wrote in his nomination for Doug. But just, you know, commenting on flexible schedule, just support, always reaching out when he was gone to see if there's anything he needed, reassuring him that his position would be back when he came off orders. I mean, those things aren't easy for employers. I know that, but I am so grateful to you, Doug, for what you're doing to support Tyler and set that example and create that culture where he really does feel that support from his employer. So Doug, I want to congratulate you on receiving that Patriot Award, and thank you so much, because you may not realize it, but what you and the Bismarck Public Works and the Forestry Department, what you do, you really, by supporting your service member, really play a huge part in our national defense. 37% of our total fighting force is made up of National Guard and Reserve members. That's a huge number. And we all know, as Rob had mentioned, and as Tyler had mentioned, you know, deployment, you know, training. It's just not a weekend, a month, or 2 weeks a year anymore for National Guard and Reserve soldiers. They're gone a lot, and there's a lot expected of them. So having a supportive employer is just so crucial to that service member, but our national defense as well. So Tyler, thank you for taking the time. You're a busy guy. You got your day job, you got your National Guard job. To take the time to nominate your supervisor, to nominate Doug, that just means a lot. And we're just here again. It's my honor to help celebrate that award and that presentation today. Wish I was there in person. Wish I could travel all over the state all the time, but you know, it's just not possible. But I tell you what, Zoom is a blessing in many ways, and allows me to be a part of this today and to be a part of a lot of presentations that we do. So again, thank you, Doug, and thank you, Tyler, and all of you at the Forestry Department in Bismarck. And Rob, before I sign off, yeah, you want to? How many? Can you pan the room? Is there? It sounds like there's more people there today for this presentation. And oh gosh, yeah. Oh wow, we got a room full. Look at that. Wow. So that's fantastic, and that's what makes it fun. And gosh, again, I wish I was there today. I should have put my green vest on. I have one actually, and like your fellow employees there. But anyway, again, thanks for allowing me to be a part of this today. Thanks, Rob, for doing a great job.